In our last video, we made a new app to track office supplies. We added entities, created fields, and added some data to keep track of. Office supplies was the example app we made, but the same steps can be followed to make any app you want. If you haven't already, you should click here to watch that video before moving on to part 2. In this video, we're going to expand our example Office Supplies app by using connections to connect, assign, or classify our data using dropdowns. Just like you can use your spreadsheets to pick from a dropdown list, connections let you set up dropdown lists in Appanzee. To make a connection is to relate different entities to each other. Remember, entities are the building blocks of your apps, similar to tabs in a spreadsheet. Connections can be between different apps. For example, to-dos in the Tasks app are assigned to staff from the Staff app, and opportunities in the Sales app are related to customers from the Company Profile app. Connections can also be used to classify your data within the same app, like in the Tasks app, where each task is given a time frame and a status to track when it will be done and its progress. Let's work a connection into our Office Supplies app. Our Office Supplies app is great for keeping track of stock, but eventually we're going to need to do stock reviews to make sure the data is accurate. Let's make a new entity to keep track of stock reviews, which will have fields for review date, completion status, and notes. Let's also add a stock review once a month for a few months. This is the basic data, but it'd be good to assign each of these reviews to a person so they can complete it. One way of doing this is to make a text field and write their names in to assign the review. However, making a connection will allow us to select people from a drop-down instead of writing their name every time. So, let's make a connection by going back to the app. Click the Connections button and then click Connect Entities. For this connection, we want to connect to staff members that are stored in the Staff app. You can add the Staff app to your workspace by installing it from the Appanzee store. Next, we'll fill out our connection information. From this screen, we make a connection between two entities. We have one input block to fill in for each of the entities we're connecting. We want to connect stock reviews to employees from the Staff app. And since each employee can be assigned many stock reviews over time, we select many from the first connection type and one from the second connection type to make a many-to-one connection. Other connection types are one-to-one and many-to-many. An example of a one-to-one is if we were onboarding staff in the onboarding app. Each one staff member has a single onboarding checklist. An example of a many-to-many connection is categorizing our Lunch and Learn sessions in the Lunch and Learn app. Multiple sessions can be on multiple different topics. Back to our app. Let's select entities for our many-to-one connection. The many side will be reviews. Notice that we select a field to represent this side of the connection. We'll choose the date field. On the one side, we'll choose the staff entity represented by the name field. Next, we'll give each side of the connection a name. Since the many reviews will be completed by a single person, we'll name the first side of the connection Employee. Since the one employee will be assigned Supply Reviews, we'll name the second side of the connection Supply Reviews. The connection name for each side is the column header for the connected data from the other entity. Finally, let's set the visibility and requirements for each side of the connection. On the first side, we want to see the assigned staff members' names next to each supply review on the list and the view. And we want to be able to assign staff members when making a new review on the form, so we select all three of those. We also want a staff member assignment to be required, so we check required as well. On the second side, we don't really want our staff app to be cluttered by showing stock reviews when looking at and adding staff members on the list and form, so we uncheck them. It could be useful to see reviews when looking at more detailed information on the view, so we leave that one checked. Finally, we don't want to have to assign stock reviews when adding every new staff member, so we keep required off. When we hit Connect Entities, we can see our connection has been saved. Note the pitchfork icon indicates the type of connection. In this case, many supplier reviews can be assigned to one employee. Let's head back to the app. Enter the reviews entity, and since we decided to show employees on the list, we can assign our reviews right here. From here on, we'll also be able to assign an employee whenever we make a new review from the form as well. Finally, if we go to the staff app and go to the staff entity, the stock reviews won't show up in the list or form as we specified, but we can enter the view and get a list of all assigned reviews for that employee in its own tab. All data that's been connected to the staff entity is readily visible from the view, putting all of the data related to this person across the whole system at your fingertips. Just like that, we've connected two entities across two different apps and customized the data visibility across both apps too. In our next video, we'll add a couple of expressions to analyze our data and visualizations to get a high-level overview on our dashboard. Choose Simple, choose Connected, choose Appanzee.